Hi there, how are you? So in today's lesson, we're actually going to look at something a little bit different. We're going to look at the water cycle on the Earth, okay? Now, I know that seems like it's got nothing to do with economics or our economic system or anything like that, but just bear with me a second. I'm gonna tie it all in. So you probably learnt this in school just like I did. It's something that I probably learnt in school that has probably been quite useful. There you go, because I'm going to share it with you now. The water cycle. All right, so we've got water in the sea. This is the sea. Now what happens is the sun shines down on the water, heats it up, yeah? The water evaporates to form clouds. Those clouds move over the land. They send the water down. This is a mountain, by the way. Okay. They send the water down onto the land. The water forms into rivers. All right. Goes back into the sea. Yeah. We're all familiar with the water cycle. And then we all start again. Now, what happens is, us as human beings here, we consume the water. Other animals also consume the water, yeah? And then we recycle through urination the water that we've consumed back into the water cycle. So this is it's a closed system that recycles. It's a closed recycling system. Now, the great thing about a closed recycling system is that it needs no maintenance, okay? It looks after itself, you know? As humans, you do not have to touch the water cycle. It works, and it will work whether there are humans on the planet or whether there are no humans on the planet. The water system works. The water system cycle works. And we can remove water from the system provided we end up recycling the water that we've used back into the system. So for all the water we drink, some of it will get absorbed by our cells, some of it we will sweat out, and some of it we will urinate out. But we only have a certain amount of water in our body. Any extra amount of water that's left over, we get rid of in sweat or in urine. And that either goes back and rejoins the clouds, or it goes back into the earth and back down into the sea where the cycle starts again. You see? We don't have to pay for water. Really, I mean, we do pay for water, obviously, because we pay water companies. But that's by the by. What I mean is the water itself, we don't have to make any more water. We don't have to add water into the system. There is just water there. And it will never disappear because it's a closed loop. We never get to the point where we will run out of water, because we're always recycling the water that we use back into the system, okay? Now, let's imagine for 1 second now, and I'm gonna give you an example of how the water system could work were we to allow it to happen. You see, this is the key. If we were to allow it to happen, which I'm hoping the human race will never allow this to happen, okay? Let's say we've got the sea again, okay? But some self-proclaiming water bankers hope you can see where I'm going with this now. They come into the sea and they claim the water for themselves. Property of water bankers. PLC. PLC, no. Limited. private company, comes and takes over the water, says the water is ours, okay? We own the water. If you want to use water, you have to pay for it. So the sun heats up the water evaporates, forms the clouds come over, rain down onto the land in the form of rivers, go back to the sea. Now, because the water is owned by the water bankers, all right, now when we want to consume the water, we have to pay some money to the water bankers. Now, water all of a sudden now, instead of being an abundant resource, an infinite resource, an unlimited resource, as it was in the other system, it just gets circled and recycled and circled and recycled and circled and recycled. So we never run out of water. Now, because we're having to pay for the water, water has been made into a scarce resource. Because now you just can't take it for nothing. Okay, you've got to pay for it. That creates scarcity. So what will people start doing? They will start siphoning the water off into their own little storage water tanks. Water storage, water storage, water storage, water storage, water storage. Because we're having to pay for the water now. So what happens if I run out of money? Well, I'm going to start storing the water just in case I run out of money. Then I will have no water to drink. You see, so people start taking water out of the system. So that water is no longer getting recycled back into the system. It's not happening. The water bankers look at the water level and say, hang on a minute, there's less water. There isn't as much water in the system. Water is being lost. So what they do, they increase the price of the water. They charge you more for the water. What happens? People start saving more water. What happens? There's less water available. The water bankers start getting annoyed. The water bankers start charging more for the money. Now, all of this is happening. There's less and less water in the system. So as people start siphoning and saving water, that takes water out of the system, means there's less water in the system, so the price we're being charged for the water goes up. You see? Did you see how perfect the system was before? We had free and unlimited amounts of water. But as soon as the private water bankers came in and took control of the water, all of a sudden that makes water a scarcity. So people start saving water. They start taking water out of the system. There's less water in the system. Water becomes more expensive. It's a vicious cycle. It's a self-consuming cycle. It's a parasitic cycle, all caused by the parasitic water bankers. Yeah? Now, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? You've probably already cottoned on to where I'm going with this, okay? And I know what you're going to say at the end of it. The same thing that most people say to me, that's impossible, it'll never work. Here's our current economic system. Bank. You. Goods and services to buy. Money back to the bank. You ask for some money to buy some goods and services. Okay? You have to pay back to the bank because money is no longer free. Money is not free in this money cycle. We have to pay for money, so you have to pay the bank the £1,100. Remember, that means you have to go out to work. Okay? Steve Jobs starts siphoning money out of the system and start storing money, money storage, so that at the end, there's less money in the money storage system because people are storing money outside of the system. People are saving money. Money saving. Why? Because our economic system makes money a scarce resource. So like when we made the water a scarce resource by putting in the private water bankers, people started siphoning the money off and saving it because it's a scarcity, because there isn't enough of it. Okay? You see, we're told two things in this economic system: that we must consume and we must save. So we consume by buying stuff and asking money from the bank. But because we're converting money into a scarce resource, we're told to save it because it's scarce, don't you know? But that's money that isn't being recycled back into this system. Now, imagine our monetary system worked like the water cycle. Now, and this is the part where you're going to look at this, right? And I'm telling you now what's going to happen. You're going to look at it and you're going to say, yeah, I can see how that makes sense. Yeah, I understand how that makes sense. But that'll never work. That will only work on your funky little whiteboard, Philip. That's never going to work in real life. But my question is, if it works on the whiteboard, why will it not work in reality? So, let's go back to the water cycle and call it the money cycle. So here we have the money C. This is just a vast amount of money that is available. Just a vast amount of money, okay? The sun provides the energy to get the money into circulation, okay? So the sun here, we could liken that to our economic system. Economic system. That's the impulse to produce and buy. Okay? So the economic system produces the impulse for people to buy. So we get money clouds forming. Yeah? Money clouds, which distribute money freely to these money rivers that the people can use. Yeah, unlimited money supply into the hands of the people. What is the only prerequisite so that this system never runs out of money? Ever. It means that money saving is a no-no. Don't save money. All of the money that you take out of the system, you put it back into the money scene. Why? The money can then be recycled through the system again. The only prerequisite is that you spend all of your money on goods and services and information. That you make sure that the money makes it back into the pot, that it makes it back into the bank. You do not save any. Yeah, but I need to save. What about my future? Sorry, let me just clear this up for you 1 second. If there is an unlimited supply of money, and you only take from this unlimited supply what you need to live, to buy what it is you want to buy, and all that money goes back into the pot, why do you need to save it? Oh, for when I'm old and I can't work. You just ask for some. You ask for it, you take it out of this supply, you use it and put it back in again. Because by spending it, it's going to end up back in there anyway. You see? Do you see how that economic system based on something like the water cycle is a much better economic system? We have no need for banking overloads. Okay, here we have the bank. Public bank. Public bank, read free money. It's owned by the people. It's ours. We print it. It belongs to us. Okay? Public bank. Gives you £1,000 for you to spend on whatever you like. The money then goes a little bit to Steve Jobs because it's an iPhone. Some goes to his workers. Some goes to the manufacturers. Some goes here and some goes there, but provided all of it ends up back in the bank, provided it all ends back up in the bank, we have an unlimited resource, just like water. You see, that's how our economic system could work. But we need to get rid of the private bankers and take banking back to the people. Have a great day.